Hey guys, HieroJux here with another Bishoujo review. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, can you imagine? Anyway, hey, thanks for checking me out. Again, here we got Chun Li. Hooray! I just wanted to show you kind of in the tissue paper. If you order from uh, the right place or different places, or if you happen to be able to grab her out of the box, out of the case, she comes in tissue paper. But before I ripped it off, I figured I'd just show that. So here she is. Hooray! Alrighty. Man, I've been waiting a long time for this figure. It's been, I don't know, it was a long time ago when they announced her. It's been probably over 2 years, I'd say. Um, and just sitting here waiting. Waiting for Chun Li. I really like Street Fighter a lot. This is one of these things that they could have announced at the beginning of the Bishoujo line, and I would have gotten hooked just as easily as they actually what ended up happening with the Marvel characters. If they had started with the Street Fighter license, I would have been all over these Bishoujo statues then too. So very happy that they're getting into Street Fighter stuff, and so far Chun Li and Cammy and Juri were the ones that have been announced or released. And as of right now, Toy Fair is going on. Today's the 18th. It ends on the 19th. Chances are by the time you're watching this, it has already gone, and it's possible that they'll still announce something. But as of right now, I haven't checked the forums today or anything like that, but they haven't announced anything else. But enough of that. We've got Chun Li right here in front of us. So there's her packaging. It's black, just like um, the movie ones, a handful of DC ones, and the other video game Bishoujo have all come in a black box. Um, but the boxes are pretty much the same across all different Bishoujo. So there's that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the description of her. I haven't read this description yet, so I probably will before I take her out of the box. But there you see Cammy, Shunya's illustration for her, and pictures of her have been around of the finished version of Cammy. One of the nice things about her is it looks like you can put her next to Chun Li, and it kind of looks like they're fighting a little bit, and that's interesting. I'm happy about that. If you haven't seen pictures of Cammy, you can check out my Tumblr. There's pictures of her there. But there's Shunya's art for Chun Li. Good stuff. I like it. Shunya very, I don't know. For me, I pretty much always like the stuff that he does. Um, it still feels very traditional. It seems like I don't know what he uses. It's interesting what he uses to do what he does. If he paints all this stuff digitally, if he does it on paper first, or what, I don't know. But that doesn't really matter right now. And here's a look at the bottom of the box for anyone who's interested in that kind of stuff. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and open her up. And here is Old Thunder Thighs out of the box. I gotta say that some of the preview shots were a little confusing for me. Some of the preview pictures and things like that, because it was hard to tell exactly where or how far up she was kicking, kind of the angle of her leg. Because a lot of the shots that we got were from the top down, and it kind of got confusing about what exactly is going on with this figure. Um, but I don't know that I can actually put it into words to describe it any better than a video or a picture can, but I can tell you that I'm happy with it. She doesn't look like she's kicking too high. I think if unless you're looking at her from above or below, uh, to me it seemed like it was too high. But here she is. So let's start with her base. She comes with the clear base that most of the Tekken, all of the Tekken Bishoujo came with. A little bit bigger, as she is a bigger figure, but it's a clear base that opens up at the bottom, and you can put in one of two inserts. The one here that I've got in is the one with Shunya Yamashita's art and the Street Fighter logo, and then she comes with another one with just Street Fighter. Interesting that it doesn't say Street Fighter 4 or Ultra Street Fighter 4 or any of that stuff like the Tekken ones had. It said Tekken Tag Tournament 2. It's very specific. That game happened to have pretty much every one of the Tekken characters in it, almost. But Street Fighter 4 doesn't have all of the Street Fighter characters in it. So I'm glad that this doesn't say Street Fighter 4, and maybe we shouldn't read too far into it, but that suggests to me that they may be able to, or they may want to do characters that aren't in Street Fighter 4. And for me, person that's hoping to get an Armika Bishoujo, that's good news. So far so good on that front. She does come off of her base pretty easily. Not so easily that the base, you can pick her up and the base will stay attached, but doesn't take too much to pop her off. The peg that attaches her is on the base itself, which means that you could theoretically stand her up on her own. She's not that off balance with just her foot on its own. She will fall backwards, but I feel like if you're determined enough, if for some reason you wanted to stand her up without the display, you might be able to pull it off, given enough, I don't know, effort. Paint-wise, again, let's go ahead and start near the base here. Let's take her off the base for now. Her boots are kind of a matte white, appropriate, I guess, if these are leather boots. The laces are a different color and a little bit different finish, a little shinier, but they're there. The sole of her boot on the kicking foot is a little more detailed. It's darker on the bottom. And there's a little bit of more motion in the laces for the moving leg. Her tights, one thing that wasn't readily apparent to me is that these are kind of sparkly. They have like some metallic flakes in them, in the paint, the brown paint. You can see it there, it kind of shimmers a little bit. I don't think I really noticed it in the pictures I'd seen. Mine has a little bit of a couple of defects. Nothing too serious, but you can see the line that connects her leg to her pelvis right at the panty line there. It gets a little jagged, but not a big deal. If you're not focusing your attention right there, you probably won't notice. The other error is on the shoulder. This one's a little more noticeable, unfortunately. There's a little spot of paint missing here and there. It seems like it just got brushed on something after it got painted or something. Anyway, it's missing paint. I might be able to put some gold paint of my own on there and make it look a little better. The white in her dress is pretty straightforward, and it does have different kind of tones of paint in it. It gets a little blue where the shadows would be. It's getting a little washed out under my lights here, but see if we can get a better feel for it. You can kind of see it a little bit there. The way the paint kind of lays in there. It's very subtle though. Even looking at it under lights with my straight at the figure with the naked eye, it's very subtle, but it's there. Same thing as the difference in the blue paint around the rest of her dress. Kind of in the deeper parts, the blue is darker. All the gold around the rest of her is done accurately. I haven't had any other issues. I haven't seen anything else. I don't know if impressive is the right word, but I mean they got it right around the corners and things like that. Around up at the top here, the little more fine detail of the gold paint looks like it's in place. That's true for the back and her arms. There's actually some gold paint that I hadn't really noticed before, and that is on the cover for her bun. I'm not sure what this thing is called. I know it has a name, but at the ends it has this gold paint, but also on the edge it's kind of like gilded or something. It's got gold paint right around the edge there. Very subtle, but it's there. I just want to squeeze this part in here real quick and mention that the seams that Koto always has on the heads of their characters is minimized at the very least. With Chun Li, there's no seam really to be seen. There is her bangs there, but that's fine. That's no problem. But very characteristic has been Koto putting some weird seam on the characters' heads, and that's not present with Chun Li here. So she's got painted fingernails, like pretty much all the Bishoujo do nowadays. She's a little more pale than I was expecting, but not bad. Very fair skin, I guess you could say. So one of the things I was really concerned about with Chun Li was her eye, her right eye, or I should say the eye on the left. At certain angles, like this one in particular, it looks like it's open too wide. You see too much of the white of her eye, and it's a little odd. In certain angles, kind of exaggerated, but most of the angles were of the shots that I remember seeing her were kind of like from like this or so, and the white of the eye would just made it look like her eye was open too wide. But if you look at her straight on, or roughly straight on, about as straight on as I can try to get it here, it's still pretty symmetrical. It doesn't look as odd, and at different angles it looks just fine, like this here. Nothing about that looks odd to me. It looks like her eyes are open the appropriate amount, I guess you could say. I don't know. So it kind of really does matter what angle you're looking at her from. But I found really looking at her on the shelf, say, there's too much to kind of take in at once to really focus in on that eye. To me, it's not an issue. I was concerned. That was like my biggest concern before I actually got to get my hands on her and look for myself. So if you're concerned about the eye, I don't think you should be. Even in the video here, it doesn't really convey that the eye is not a big deal. And it isn't, so don't worry about it. So there's that. I feel like she's kind of increasingly easily coming off of her base more and more. But not too bad. So the other thing I wanted to see that I hadn't seen anybody do or show shots of is that her legs are splayed out pretty far. What would she look like if she was doing her spinning bird kick? And that's it. And I gotta say, it looks pretty good. It's interesting. I gotta say, I don't know if there's a way that I can devise of her sitting on my shelf like this, but I wouldn't mind if she was. It looks pretty good. Other characters would look ridiculous like this, but with Chun Li, you know exactly what's happening here. That's that spinning bird kick. So I hadn't seen these pictures anybody took of her upside down. I wasn't sure what the base was like, but I don't know. Maybe I'll figure out something. Maybe I can suspend her somehow, but not too bad like that. She even kind of is still looking at you. So that's cool. I don't know if that was intentional, but maybe it wasn't. But I gotta say, I do like it. You could display her that way if you were determined to. And then kind of she does, I guess, the splits too if you really wanted to look at that way, but it doesn't really look good at all like that. So she does not do the splits, if you ask me. So yeah, she's a great Bishoujo, and also she's really big. Aside from Miss Marvel, I think this might be the biggest Bishoujo they've made after Miss Marvel. I could be wrong, but of all the ones that I'm looking at, maybe Storm? I can't quite tell, but here's a size comparison to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about here. So Power Girl is one of the biggest Bishoujo I can think of that I know is... she's got a pretty good stature to her. She's one of the larger Bishoujos that I can think of. And I don't know if you can quite tell it here, but if Chun Li, I think, was to stand up, she would be taller than I was going to call her Miss Marvel, Power Girl. the leg here looks taller than this leg. Now, she's posed in such a way that it kind of doesn't matter if how tall she is. They look like they are about the same, but why I bring that up is that there is a shot on Ami Ami's website of Chun Li and Cammy, and it kind of looks like they're squaring off. And this could be nothing, but in the shot, it kind of looks like Cammy is blocking Chun Li's kick. And if that's the case, Chun Li, if she was to stand next to Cammy, that would make Cammy pretty big. Like, Cammy's going to end up being a really big figure too. So I'm hoping they kind of went the other way with it. So they say that these figures are 1/7 scale, but they've gone all over the map with that. The Tekken figures, for instance, Zhao Yu here, they say that she's 1/7 scale, but clearly she's a smaller figure than Chun Li is. I mean, that's obvious here. With the Tekken line, they say 1/7 and they skew smaller, more towards 1/8, maybe 1/10 even, some people say. But they skew smaller for sure. So I'm hoping that the Street Fighter ones skew larger, and so far with Chun Li, it definitely has. I would prefer a consistent scale across all Bishoujo statues if possible, but I don't know. It didn't start off that way, and it doesn't look like it's going to continue. It looks like it's going to continue that way, where the scale's just kind of out the window. Another quick size comparison, just because I have her handy here, is Spider-Girl from the Marvel Legends. That's a 6-inch scale figure. I say scale because she's not 6-inch. She's small for a 6-inch figure, but maybe you have Marvel Legends Spider-Girl, or if you're more familiar with that, you can get an idea of how big Chun Li is here. Anyway, I gotta say I'm very happy with Chun Li all in all. She does have some thunder thighs on her. I mean, you can see them there. They're massive, and but that's just fine. I think they should be. Oh, yeah, before I forget, one other size comparison I wanted to do that I think is a little more interesting, which is Play Arts Kai Chun Li. You have to forgive her pose here. I had her in a different pose that didn't really help with the size comparison aspect, but these two figures are very close in size. I can't really say which one is bigger. I think given that this one has huge feet and hands and legs and everything, because it matches that Street Fighter 4 style, that thank God they didn't do for the Bishoujo line. Parts of her look bigger than the statue, the Bishoujo. I think the Bishoujo, if she could stand straight up, would be a little bit bigger than the Play Arts Kai version of Chun Li. But let's just do this real quick for shits and giggles. That's not quite perfect, but you can see they're pretty close. I mean, very similar, very similar. So, if you have Play Arts Kai Chun Li, then you have a really good idea of exactly how big this Bishoujo is going to be. So, that'll do it for me for now. I've explained enough. Let's go ahead and get some gratuitous butt shots in here right before the end. Why not? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to me if you haven't yet. Check out my other videos. I got a lot of Bishoujo videos up. I have more Bishoujo videos up. Most of the Bishoujo figures I released I have reviews for. Some of them I just haven't got around to, but and some I don't have. Just flat out don't have them to review them. But at any rate, go ahead and check them out. Subscribe. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your patronage. Be good to each other. And thanks for watching.